Liftoff will start in T-minus 10 seconds.
Hey everybody, this is Evan and John. You're listening to the Boomerang Show. Whatever, I'm keeping it. This is it. Hey everybody.
So you disappeared again.
Oh well, we're back.
We're back. We're good. That's good. That's good. So
this is the
this
Boomer and Egg Show.
kind of sounds like the New Year's Eve show.
So the reason I was wow, that was our first one.
No, because you were in celebratory fashion.
The that was like our fourth time doing the intro, so I was like, screw it. This is this. So that was the intro.
All right. So welcome everybody to the Boomer Next Show, Sports Shorts.
Sports.
Our first sports show of the 2017 football season. And Evan, you want to run down the topics real quick?
Yes, it is college, SEC. Then we're gonna do some NFL from this week. Well, in the college, we're also gonna talk about other games, but kind of focus on SEC. I'm assuming, is that right, John?
That is correct.
Then we're gonna do fantasy, and then college next week, and NFL next week, and then we're got a couple mad dash topics.
I'm not seeing the information on the screen. There we go. And there we go again.
How about now? Can you see it now?
I can.
Okay,
I
good.
can. And it seems to be stable for the moment.
I was clicking all over the place.
So
So if y'all don't know, we're still doing we're Skype. We're not in the studio right now. So John's at his house. I'm at my house, and we're doing it. So I'm sharing all the notes on my screen. So when I'm playing around, he suddenly can't see.
I can't see.
So just to give you a little glimpse into our the what do you call it, behind the scenes.
Yeah, the behind the scenes, and I believe E is coming next week to start their behind the scenes, the Boomer and X Show filming.
Oh, they haven't come to your house yet?
Not yet. Have they already been to yours?
Yeah.
They might have gone to my old place. So we're 2 weeks into college football, and as far as the SEC goes, we've only had one conference game so far, so there's not a whole lot in the way of standing. South Carolina beat Missouri pretty handily this past week, but I do believe we already have a coach that ended last year on the hot seat, and the seat has certainly gotten hotter for him the first 2 weeks of this year. Thankfully, we're not talking about the LSU coach, Coach Les Miles. We're talking about Kevin Sumlin at Texas.
Halftime, the score was 10 for UCLA to 38, I believe.
30. Well, I don't know if it was. At one point, it was 34-10, and this was in the third quarter.
Okay,
it was
so
34 to
third
10.
quarter they get a field goal, so 34 to 10. Okay, or yeah.
So yeah, the reason his seat has gotten hotter was because his team, Texas A&M, blew a 34-point lead to UCLA in week 1. And did you watch the game?
No, but I was getting ESPN alerts like crazy when ESPN analysts or writers or whoever sends out these alerts were freaking out that UCLA was coming back, and then I got like 4 alerts when they ended up winning. It was incredible.
Well, yeah, and I didn't watch it in real time, but I when I saw what had happened, I watched the replay that came on later that night. And usually when when a team blows a 34-point lead, they lost the game more than the other team won the game.
Yeah.
But UCLA really won the game more than Texas A&M lost the game. I mean, there were a couple of plays. I think there was like a missed field goal, and since it was a 1-point game, that would have made the difference. But UCLA didn't. I mean, Texas A&M just didn't self-destruct. UCLA, led by their NFL prospect quarterback, and the name is escaping me right now.
So UCLA?
Yeah,
Rosen.
yeah, Rosen.
He
Rosen
had
is chosen.
491 yards and 4 touchdowns.
And they just they played well. They pretty much played perfectly. But then what? Now going taking the story back to Texas A&M and why I think they've got some real issues. They were tied 14-14 this past weekend in the fourth quarter with Nicholls State, which is a little 1AA school from southeast Louisiana. And they ended up winning that game 24-14. But you shouldn't be tied with Nicholls State in the fourth quarter. And given the fact that the past a couple of years at least, Texas A&M has had something of a late season meltdown. Remember, they helped Les Miles save his job year before last.
Yeah.
They were so bad. So the late season meltdowns, you blow a 34-point lead in the first game of the 2017 season, and then you are tied with Nicholls State in the fourth quarter. I'd say that things are pretty hot in College Station, and not just with the weather. Other than that, I think Florida has some real issues on offense in the SEC. Bama is strong. We saw that. We saw the way that they handled Florida State in game one, in weekend one, when they were ranked number 1 and Florida State was ranked number 3. By the way, I don't like preseason rankings. I don't think any ranking should be held until the end of September, but for what it was worth, that was number 1 versus number 3 on opening weekend.
Yeah, that was really the game I was looking forward to because it was the only one where 2 top 25 teams were playing each other.
No, wasn't Michigan and Florida 2 top 25 teams?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm looking at week 2.
Week 2, yeah. In week 1, there were a few matchups.
So
with top 25
talking
team.
about that game, we said I believe we said this on air last year. If not, we're saying it again. How Florida State has this quit mentality once they're down. And
it was last season in week 1 that they got just absolutely destroyed by Louisville.
Yeah, and you could tell the players were like, "Let's get out of here." And,
right.
And that, for a top 25 ranked team, is something you should never see, especially against Alabama. I mean, don't give up, But they ended up it being what, like 7-24 or something.
Yeah, I think it was 27-7 or something like that. It was, it was a blowout. Of course, I remember last year, first weekend of the season, Bama was playing USC, and USC was a top 20 team, and Bama ended up beating them by, I think it was at least 40 points. So Bama has a way of doing that to people, but this is two opening weekends embarrassments by Florida State, and I don't know. You expect a little bit more out of that program.
Yeah, I mean, they were, 3 years ago won it, right?
They did with Jameis Winston.
So, yeah, Jameis Winston won it 3 years ago.
Yeah, yeah. Otherwise, in college...
oh, you know what? I didn't start a timer. Oh, well. Should I start a timer?
Well, let's just assume we've got about a minute and a half left.
Like 5 minutes left of our 5-minute timer.
Otherwise, I was very surprised to see Oklahoma
Yeah,
Um,
Ohio game.
yeah, the Oklahoma-Ohio State game. They went in there and really handed Ohio State their buzz. Now, see, they did have one thing going for them this year. First of all, Big Game Bob is not there anymore for the first time since I believe the 1998 season. I think he came on. I think 1999 was Bob Stoops' first season at
Wow.
Oklahoma. They have a new coach now, and I couldn't tell you his name at the moment. But last year Ohio State traveled to Oklahoma in opening weekend. Or was it the second weekend? It was the second weekend because you know what? Oklahoma lost to Houston in the opening weekend last year. And then they got drilled by Ohio State. So anyway, there was a little bit of payback, I guess, motivation with that game. Let's do touch on LSU real quick before we leave the college game. They're 2-0. I thought BYU was a good opponent.
Hey, I did too, but then they go and get beat.
Well, they lost and they looked bad doing it. They lost to Utah in a game that's referred to as the Holy War, and that's the nickname of that game. And they didn't really look that good in there. So maybe Utah was really good, but
But then we go and play Chattanooga. We being LSU.
yeah, and you can't really tell a whole lot. There were a couple of there were some really nice plays. Edling hit
Yeah, he
hit
had 227 yards. I think he went 8 for 14 or 15.
and he had a couple of beautiful 40-plus yard passes to DJ Chark. I mean, they just came right down the chimney into his arms. And
Guys had 2 touchdowns.
guys had his 100-plus and two
Yeah, he
touchdowns.
did. 100.
But I think the two plays of the game were on the defensive side of the ball, and they were two spectacular interceptions.
Oh yeah, yeah. That rookie.
Both
Uh,
of them, both of them are freshmen.
yeah. Oh, and that's another thing. What was it? 26 freshmen.
In game one, there were 25 LSU players that were seeing their first college action,
Yeah.
and 13 freshmen that were seeing their first college action. So LSU is obviously a very young team, and starting the
But
year,
that being said, I expected a lot of penalties. I expected a lot of.
well, they did
Uh,
have a lot of penalties in the first half. They had 10.
well, they had yeah, I guess they had some
They
holdings
had
and stuff.
10 in the first half. I think
Um,
there was only one in the second half.
and that's you're talking about the BYU game, right?
No, actually, I'm talking about the second game now.
Okay, I'm talking about BYU.
BYU. Yeah,
Uh,
they looked pretty clean. They did.
they were well coached. I'm gonna say is they have a sense of uh, I don't know. They don't look like little kids out there. You know, like I can tell they're more. What am I trying to say, John?
Well, they're talented.
Well, no, I'm talking about more like their
They're more disciplined.
composure, discipline. Yeah, they're that's the word, discipline.
Yeah,
Go with that.
well, I would like to say that, but again, we had ten penalties in the first half this week. But I'm gonna say they're more disciplined. But here's I think is one of the big things. I think Coach Miles and his assistants, and no, not Miles. Wow, Coach Orgeron will let his assistants do their jobs,
And yep, yep.
and he's going to be more the CEO, and he's going to let Coach Canada, which is new to LSU as the offensive coordinator from the University of Pittsburgh last year. He's going to let him run the offense, and he's going to let Coach Aranda run the defense. He's in his second year, having come from Wisconsin, and
And those are things he
and
learned how to do by making those mistakes
he
at
Ole Miss.
no, it
Oh,
was the other one.
Ole Miss. Ole
Yeah,
Miss.
yeah. He tried taking the bull by the horns and doing everything himself.
In
And
3 years at Ole Miss, he had a head coach a record as of 10-25.
yeah,
And then he was the interim head coach at USC a few years ago,
Yeah.
and he went 6-2 as the interim head coach after Lane Kiffin was fired.
Yeah.
But he didn't get the job permanently, and then he'd been on LSU's staff since. So LSU sees SEC competition for the first time in the week coming up, but actually we'll touch on that when we get to the upcoming segment. A little bit of you ready for a little bit of NFL?
Yeah. So this week, let's talk about your favorite team, the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
The main thing I wanted to see was Le'Veon Bell because we drafted him as our first pick, even though he had a holdout, and it appears he continued to hold out.
Yeah, it doesn't look like the holdout is over. He was pathetic. He didn't run that many plays, and when he did, he wasn't effective. Cleveland, if I remember correctly, had a very porous run defense last year,
Mm-hmm.
and I we'll say that he probably needed to be in camp while he was holding out. And the thing that's irritating about it is that he knew that whole time what his contract was going to be.
Yep.
I just don't feel like being in camp.
Now, that being said, I don't think he's going to continue playing this way. They go
I
to
don't think so
Minnesota
either.
next week, who just stopped all of the Saints running. But
Do they go to Minnesota?
no,
or
I'm
does
sorry, they're at home. Yeah, they're at home.
Yeah, they're at home. I thought so.
Yeah. So
I thought so. But that was that was an easy matchup.
it was.
That was an easy running back matchup, and he didn't do anything. But let's talk about who did do something for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, he saved the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Antonio Brown had 11 targets, 11 catches, and 182 yards. Now, he didn't find the end zone. Both of the touchdown passes, both of the offensive touchdowns were passes.
Well,
and they were both
got there
Jesse
from
James.
amazing catches on Antonio Brown's part.
Yeah.
There was one play. I think it was either 2 or 3. Definitely 2 guys there. All 3 taller than him by 6
There were 3.
inches.
There were 3 guys there.
And he times the catch. It was like a 40-yarder. And he jumps up, and it was perfectly caught. Stayed in bounds. And then they go on to score off of it. Like you said, Jesse James got the 2 touchdowns, right?
Right.
Yeah. So he was just, it was beautiful. Huh?
It was. Well, my screen's blank again.
Oh. Well then.
There it is. And watching the replay of that, you watched him run his route. He looked at the ball was in the air. He's spotting the ball. He looks to the point where he's running. He sizes up the 3 defenders. He goes back to the ball. He sees where he's going, where the ball is going, and the guy's there, and he totally high points his jump and gets the ball. It was about as impressive I mean, it wasn't one of these one-hand things that are so acrobatic.
Yeah.
But as far as catching it in traffic, anyway, that was a bright spot for the Steelers, which I thought otherwise was a dismal performance.
Yeah,
I really did.
But I mean, whenever do they do good on the road?
They're not a good road team. They're not.
So I mean, getting a win on the road for them is a big deal.
It is. Of course, this is Cleveland. You know what? They pointed out something on ESPN last night. Ben Roethlisberger has more wins in Cleveland than any Cleveland quarterback
Oh.
that's been there since the team relocated there.
Jeez.
Since they got the new team. See, the Browns left and went to Baltimore, became the Ravens. But the NFL gave Cleveland then another franchise. And since that happened, Ben Roethlisberger's won more games there than any Cleveland quarterback.
Jeez.
That's pretty sad. Evan, the Saints didn't look good tonight, did they?
No. I mean, they lost, and that's not the only reason I say they didn't look good. They were running routes. They weren't running routes, let's just say that. They were just mosey on about back there. Anyone could tell, okay, the guy who's looking and cares, oh, that's the guy who's getting the ball. Because everyone else is just out there as the decoys, and these are professionals. They can tell. The routes were just trash. And
Well, and I didn't see the game. I was at work. I did record it, but after everything I heard about it, I didn't see any point in watching it.
Yeah, it wasn't. It's not. That's not.
Excuse me.
That's not the Saints. The Saints, even when, because last year they had a problem of Drew Brees couldn't get the ball to them in time because he was running around all over the place, and he's not a very mobile quarterback. So that was their problems last year.
Well, I hear his protection wasn't too good tonight either.
Well, it wasn't. It wasn't great, but the passes that he was getting off were to people who just didn't seem like they cared about running the route correctly. That's the main thing. It was a glaring problem to me too.
Right.
So I'm used to seeing the Saints running very good routes, and they weren't tonight.
And some reports I've heard, and also some things you've said, and a text message I got from my son during the game, there seemed to be a little bit of friction between Adrian Peterson and Coach Sean Payton.
Yes, you could tell from, what he said. He said, "Give me the ball," but he yelled at him. He said, "Sean, give me the ball," and Sean Payton just turned around and stared at him, and he might have said something, but you couldn't see.
Mm-hmm.
And AP just gave him this death stare for a couple seconds. And
like he's gonna go get a switch.
Yeah, probably.
You know what? I think Peterson said, "Don't make me go get my switch," and Sean said, "We won 7 whole games last year without you. We can do it again."
7 whole games, huh?
I expected more from the Saints. I'll tell you right now. I went into the year thinking the Saints were a playoff team this year, and I'm not gonna dump out on that after one game on the road against a very, very stiff defense. And by the way, a very underrated quarterback in Sam Bradford.
Yes. Yeah.
But
he was.
But it's concerning. It's concerning that not only did they lose, but they looked very lackadaisical. From what I'm hearing, they looked very lackadaisical doing it. And now I've got some shit on my screen that I can't. It's there we go. Now it's gone.
Why are you so finicky, man?
Because I'm reading this word for word.
Oh, yeah, it's scripted that well,
huh? So one other thing with the NFL, the Texans, the Giants, the Saints, the Colts, the 49ers, the Seahawks, and the Jets all had terrible offensive performances. Of those teams, which one or ones do you think will be okay? At least in their offense. At least they'll start putting points on the board, because they sure didn't do it this week.
I'm gonna say Seahawks.
Okay.
Man, I don't know about any of these other ones though. Texans, Giants, Saints. Saints. I'm gonna say Saints. They'll come around better than what they were today. But the Texans, the Giants, Colts, and 49ers and Jets. The Colts without Luck are not looking good offensively. And I mean, what was that score, like 49-0 or something?
I think they scored, but it was bad. It was bad. They didn't score much. I'll take them one by one real quick. The Texans obviously have quarterback issues, and it looks like they may already go to rookie Deshaun Watson, who was the kid that came from Clemson, led them to the national championship last year. I think if you're depending on if your best option is a rookie, then you've got some issues.
Sorry,
Yeah,
I know I'm messing with you. Okay, keep going.
So I think the Texans may have some issues all year long. The Giants, well, they were without Odell Beckham Jr. Last night. Eh, And if they didn't see how valuable, because see his contract, he's in a contract year, and clearly they need him. But something else is kind of bothering me about them. They have Brandon Marshall, who is probably a Hall of Fame wide receiver. Wide receiver. He had a horrible year with the Jets last year, but we all chalked that up to the fact that the Jets had no quarterback play. We didn't hear Brandon Marshall's name but once, and it was real late in the game last night.
He got a
So,
garbage time catch, and that's it.
yeah, so I don't understand. So I think it seems like Odell Beckham getting back may not, I don't know, we'll see, but it didn't look good last night, and that's actually my pick to win that division. So I think the Saints offensively will be fine. But they did lose an offensive lineman. It was a right tackle they lost tonight, and I don't know.
Yeah, they
I
sure
don't know
did.
how long he's gone, but they were already missing a starting left tackle. So, even Breeze, any quarterback, if he doesn't have time to throw, is going to be made to look very average. And almost all of the fantasy points Breeze got tonight were garbage time. Almost all of them.
All of them. Yep.
As you mentioned, the Colts without luck are just terrible.
All field
The
goals.
Yeah. The 49ers, they've been bad ever since Harbaugh left, and they still
Yeah.
are.
Yep. A
The
series
Jets,
of bad mistakes
yeah,
followed by
a
more
lot of
wins.
front office snafus. The
The Jets.
the Jets don't have a quarterback, and they don't. I looked at the name of their receivers, and I don't recognize anybody. I agree with you. The Seahawks will be okay. They'll get it going.
Yeah, I think that's with the Seahawks we were just seeing. Now, same they're having the same problem the Saints are. Their quarterback got to run all over the place and make weird throws, and
Yeah,
you can't win
no,
against the Green Bay Packers doing that. So,
but at least their quarterback is mobile.
yeah, he is very mobile. Jeez, I just realized they only had 9 points and they were off field goals.
Hmm There were a lot of field goals in the league this weekend.
So, would you say it's a good idea segueing into fantasy football, is it a good idea to draft a kicker round one with all the field goals going down?
If you have a one-round draft, then not even then. No, no.
My, they did a supervisor draft at work, and my boss, so I guess you can call him a rookie at fantasy football, but he's done it before, so,
Well, he had his name
but
on it.
he
He had his
exactly.
name on it.
His son helped out. So he's sitting there and he told me his reasoning, and I still think it's hilarious. He's sitting there and he's like, "Well, I'm picking ninth out of 10, and by the time they got to me, a bunch of running backs and quarterbacks and running wide receivers were gone. So I wanted to get the best player in one of the positions, so I picked the best kicker."
No, he didn't.
Yes. Yes, he did.
Really?
Dude, when he did it, everyone busted out laughing. So then they finish their draft, and they have, I guess the way they had it set up was they could see everyone could see the thing. So David walks up there and he's setting his lineup, and he doesn't even start the kicker he drafted round one. So they're all dogging him for that. He's like, "Come on, guys. I mean."
Holy smoke. So,
So,
speaking of fantasy, you and I have a team again this year. We didn't do it last year,
nope.
but
This year, actually, I didn't do any fantasy last year,
right.
and there was
The
a
year before
void in
last,
my
you and I
life.
co-managed a team and came in second.
Yep. This
Last
year,
year, we didn't do anything, but this year we got into our work league.
yes.
And we decided
And it's
to do
actually $100 league, so we
it's a
be
$100 league, and it's a 12-team league too.
Yep. So we don't know how the split is. But it's 1,200 up for grabs, and I think we get 800 of it. But we mentioned we got Le'Veon Bell as our first round pick, and we got Breeze. I guess I'll just go down it. Doug Baldwin, Pierre Garçon, Le'Veon Bell, Ty Montgomery, Kobe Fleener, Lila Powell, Brandon McManus. Our Los Angeles defense, John, great pick. That'd be the Los Angeles
Los Angeles Rams, not
Rams.
Clippers.
Now, see, in my other league, I got Jacksonville, and they both
Clippers. Did you hear? I just said.
I thought you were joking, but
No, I wasn't joking.
Yeah. LAC, man.
Yeah, I mentioned to Evan. Every time I look at anything having to do with football, I see LAC, and forever that's been Los Angeles Clippers. So I keep thinking LA, LA Clippers, LA Clippers. No, it's the fucking Chargers. But I'm stuck on Clippers. So anyway, yeah, Los Angeles Rams, not Los Angeles Chargers. But anyway, go ahead. So you're telling everybody our draft.
In our bench we have Riddick, Tyler Lockett, Kamara, who actually got some action tonight. I didn't think that would be happening in week 1. John's sleeper pick, Kenny Golladay, which is now going to be a starter for us.
Mm-hmm.
And Gabriel, was that Tyler Gabriel? T. Gabriel?
Yeah.
Wide receiver at Atlanta. Yeah. Perrine and Jay Cutler. And so here's the thing, folks. We have spies amongst us. So we're only going to talk about our fantasy team, what happened.
Yeah, we'll talk about what's been done, not what's going to be done.
Because the guys listening are scheming, and we don't want to give them anything. With that being said, I hear
we won this week.
I hear Willie Snead that they should play him next week.
Yes,
that's my insider.
Yeah.
Insider trick.
So we won this week. We won fairly comfortably, but the whole margin of victory came from the defense. Our defense scored 31 points for us. His scored 2 points.
And we won by 34 points.
So we had some underachievers, with the biggest of them being Le'Veon Bell.
Yep.
And I would say that Doug Baldwin was probably the second, and maybe Breeze and Baldwin. Both disappointed. But we did so well with the defense, and we did so well with Ty Montgomery. And Pierre Garçon actually came in okay for us.
Yep.
That we were able to withstand very subpar outings by Le'Veon and Drew Brees, and really Doug Baldwin too.
So for the league, how do we match up
scores
in the whole league?
I think we were like 4th out of 12.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You want to click on it, take a look?
Are you looking on my screen?
Yeah, I'm looking on your screen.
So yeah, it is all said and done. The commissioner got the highest score. It's fixed. No, he actually had some trouble this week. He had a lot of those Florida guys and what's the other team? Tampa Bay. He had a lot of them on his team.
Miami and Tampa Bay.
And so he was forced to play Sam Bradford. He got 35 points out of that. So that was a good.
That's a pretty good fallback position.
So yeah, all of his guys were in double digits. Jason Witten almost got. Oh, that's right. Jason Witten was their guy. Yeah. So yeah, we fared well against it. Now we would have obviously lost to some people, but we that's how I like to look at it. I like to look and say, well, would we have won? Obviously you're not going to be the highest scorer every week, but
Well, I do the same thing. I like to see how I would have matched up, and again, it looks like we were the 4th highest out of 12. Hey, and we got the win. And we had some underachievers. So I feel good about it. I think one of the things I really feel good about is that we drafted that Golladay kid. I drafted him in my other league as well. And the book on him was got a world of talent, had a great preseason. As the year goes along, he's going to be a real contributor. So
Look at this. We're
I
waiver number 1.
I saw that. So
So yeah,
I
Kenny Galladay, great pickup, man. That was
but I didn't start him in either league.
well, yeah. You
But
wanted to see.
we will definitely. I don't think we're giving anything away to say that he will find our starting lineup in week 2.
I think if we
Oh,
don't start him, we will get ridiculed.
well, I ain't worried about that.
Yeah. So we
But
have waiver 1. So John, who are we picking up with our first waiver uh, pickup?
oh, kicker.
I hear David Johnson is worth playing
Oh
next
my
week.
God, everybody picked him first.
Yep. I mean, and for good reason. I honestly, personally, don't think he's going to do what he did last year, but he's worth picking first round for sure.
Well, did you hear the news?
What?
He's out for several weeks with a wrist injury.
Oh, I thought it was just like 3.
Well, that's several.
Yeah, you're right. But
I heard it could be as much as 8, but I haven't heard anything since way early today.
jeez, 8. So yeah, if we start talking about injuries, we'll be.
Well, it's just that the consensus number 1 got injured in the first game.
Yeah.
So that
I would say
yeah.
the worst that I heard of this weekend was Allen Robinson. He had that ACL. He's out.
He's done for the year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
let's talk about next week college stuff.
Okay.
I got we're gonna do top 25 or SEC.
Let's do top 25.
Okay. So let's just roll down the list. Illinois, South Florida.
South Florida's ranked number 22.
Mhm.
Is that the school that Charlie Strong went to?
I think it is.
Let's take a look. Can you click on that and see if it?
Doing a little research. Charlie Strong fires back at unhappy USF fans. I don't see why he would do that if he didn't go there.
I don't either.
Charlie Strong.
Okay, so they're ranked number 22.
Yes.
And I'm pulling for Charlie Strong. I think he got a raw deal at Texas, but the team didn't perform under him. They didn't. So, anyway, I'm pulling for him. Number 12 LSU plays at Mississippi State.
That'll be a good test.
This is the SEC opener for both. And I don't want to sound cocky when I say this because Mississippi State has put up a lot of points on subpar competition the first couple of weeks, but LSU owns Mississippi State. I think
That is so true.
I think we've lost to them once since 1999. It seems
Wow.
like, which doesn't guarantee, but I don't sweat games against Mississippi State.
It's obviously, like you said, the SEC opener. The lines got them by 7. So
Okay,
I
I see the. Okay, good. I see the line. I would say LSU covers that, but I wouldn't put anything on it.
yeah, me neither. That's you never know with conference games like that.
Miami and Florida State game falls victim to Hurricane Irma.
Yes, they do. So
God, there have been so many weather disruptions, not only this year, but previous seasons as well. Hell, LSU can't get a season in.
no, they cannot. Well, I guess they have. They moved that game to the Cajun Dome. I mean the big Cajun Dome.
Yeah, yeah, they moved it to the Superdome. Of course, I guess I could say they can't get a season in without
Moving it around.
moving things around. Yeah, Air Force plays at Michigan. Michigan's ranked number 7.
I'm sorry, Air Force, you're gonna lose.
I have been. I think Michigan wins this game, but as much as I'm a Harbaugh fan, I've been a little underwhelmed. I know that they had a big margin of victory against Florida, but Florida struggles on offense,
Very bad.
and they were Michigan had a handful, had their hands full with Cincinnati the first half of the game this past week. And last year they benefited from a very, very friendly home schedule.
That is
So,
true. That is
yeah,
true. It's like 8 games
right.
home.
Yeah. Um. So I hope they do well. Like I said, I like Harbaugh, but so far I haven't been blown away by them.
All right. Oklahoma State at Pittsburgh. Um, they're ranked number 9. Oklahoma State is.
Oklahoma State puts up a ton of points. They're 2-touchdown favorite on the road here.
Pittsburgh. They lost some of their defense guys that they.
You
that they
mean
had
to
last year.
to the NFL or
I don't know if
to
all to the
injury
NFL,
or
but they're just mostly. Yeah, I guess graduating in NFL and stuff.
okay.
My source says Oklahoma State's 13.5 point favorite.
Here's an interesting line. UCLA is a 3-point favorite at Memphis.
Mm-hmm.
Memphis, who's 1-0. I'm surprised that line is that low. But I must admit to not knowing a whole heck of a lot about Memphis.
So, you think UCLA's gonna come in with a big hit, or they're gonna ride the wave?
I don't know. See, I don't know enough about Memphis to know. I mean, that line. If I hadn't seen that line, I would have figured UCLA was a double-digit favorite. So obviously, there's something impressive about Memphis that I haven't seen as of yet. Because it's just not one of those teams that I look at a whole lot. Wisconsin at BYU. BYU, they opened up the year with. Well, actually, they opened up the year before. They played a game before they played LSU.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they did. It was like Portland State or something.
And they,
It was
I'm
a
assuming, won. Well, yeah,
it
because
was
they
a
just lost 2 in a row.
it was a 1AA school. But you know what? They weren't that impressive there. They never crossed the 50-yard line against LSU.
Ever?
And no, I'm pretty sure they didn't the whole game. And they didn't look good against Utah, so I say that Wisconsin is going to handle them, and not with care.
Yeah, I think they're gonna.
There's no
Wisconsin
line
go
list.
3 and
There's
0.
no line listed there.
Oh, there sure isn't.
That's interesting.
The verdict is still out.
You think maybe the Mormons don't allow betting? Oh. Virginia Tech at ranked number 16 and 2-0 is a 21-point favorite at East Carolina.
Yeah. Okay. I agree.
East Carolina covers.
You think?
Yeah, they don't win, but they cover.
Okay. I'll take that bet.
Okay.
Moving on. SMU TCU.
The Methodists versus the Baptists.
Is this another holy war?
Yeah.
So they're going to Fort Worth, Texas.
You do know what the SMU and TCU stand for, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, this is the Methodists versus the Baptists.
But it's not the holy war. The holy war is the Utah.
The holy war is Utah and Brigham Young. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This would probably be the televangelistic war.
There you go.
Televangelist war. Oh.
They got TCU by 18.
Yeah.
At home.
Well, hell, they're both right there together. One of them's in Dallas and one of them's in Fort Worth. And neither one of them draws beans. No, I guess TCU actually draws pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah, they draw they draw well. Speaking of church schools in Texas. Baylor. Baylor is 0-2 and they lost to Liberty. I mean,
Wow.
oh my, yeah,
I
yeah.
missed
They,
that.
how the mighty have fallen. TCU's an 18-point favorite here. They just wiped up the ground with Arkansas. But SMU is 2-0, so they are finally, after years and years and years of being down from the death penalty imposed upon them by the NCAA
Oh
for
yeah.
taking cheating to a whole different level. But I don't. TCU. I say TCU covers, and we finally got us a good matchup now in this one. Tennessee and Florida,
It looks,
SEC East.
looks like there's gonna be a bunch of empty seats. They got 2,000, almost 1,800 seats available for cheap. So maybe there's not gonna be much of a crowd there. Either
Number
way,
23
yeah,
Tennessee versus number 24 Florida.
and that's always a good matchup. Now remember last year it was like the fate of the SEC hinged on Tennessee, Florida, and LSU, and we were supposed to play Florida, and we had to move the game. And Tennessee was like killing it, and then they lose like 2 weeks in a row, and then it went from like this big awesome mega triangle matchup, and then it's like it doesn't matter anymore. When we played Florida, it was for nothing, and so
Tennessee started out very well last year, but by the time it was all over, and again, our game was played several weeks later with Florida than it was originally supposed to be.
This is the rematch. This is the game I wanted to see last year, so hopefully it's a good one.
Florida's a 5.5-point favorite. They've only played one game because their game this past weekend was canceled because of the hurricane. I'll go with Florida covering, winning and covering.
Gotcha. Yeah, me too.
Mercer at 15, Auburn. Mercer's one of these 1AA nothing schools. There's not even a line on this game.
Next.
But Auburn played Clemson a little tougher than I thought they would.
Yeah.
But anyway, they won't have any trouble with Mercer.
Ohio State, Army. Ohio State is so mad they lost. They are about to punish.
You think they're gonna take it out on Army?
Yeah, poor Army.
Wow!
Look at the line. It's 30.
The line is 30.
Oh my God.
I don't think they cover.
I won't take that bet.
I don't think they cover.
Dude. 30.
I think they're going to have an Oklahoma hangover. And I don't think they cover.
I will be definitely keeping my eyes on that one.
Oregon State at Washington State. Washington State's ranked number 21 and 2-0. Oregon State is 1-2. Remember a few years ago when Oregon and Oregon State were both good?
I have my cousin is marrying a dude that plays for Oregon State.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, he sucks.
No, he doesn't. Actually, it's his first year. Last year he was top 6 in the state.
Mm-hmm.
He's a safety.
So he's a freshman this year?
He's a freshman this year, but he's starting.
Well, then he doesn't suck.
No, he was 6th in Texas. Top 6 in Texas.
What's his name?
Christian Wallace, I believe.
Okay.
Look him up.
All right. Well, we have a rooting interest. He's a 21.5-point underdog to Washington State. Washington State struggled with Boise State. That was a good game Saturday night.
Yeah, this is a conference matchup. So
it's Pac-12.
Yep.
Tulane and Oklahoma. The line's 33.5. It's does Oklahoma care?
I mean, come on.
Do they care? I mean, they're
at home. They're just
They just rolled up on Ohio State. I'm going to say that they have an Ohio State.
They might cover.
I'm going to say they have a hangover for the other reason.
They're going to ride the Tulane wave.
I would take the points, take Tulane, but I wouldn't bet that game. But if I were, that's the way I would go with it. Alabama minus 28.5 over Colorado State. Colorado State's 2-1, so they've already played 3 games. Any thoughts?
Just one. I think, but I'm not 100%, but I think we may have gone over 5 minutes on this one.
All right, we'll
No,
start.
no.
We'll have to call it this one the sports not so short.
Yeah. So, Colorado State, 2-1. I don't know enough about Colorado State other than knowing that Alabama's probably going to cover that 28.5 line.
Penn State 38.5 over 38 over
Yeah.
Georgia State. There's a lot of really crappy. Here we go. Here's one down here. Clemson at Louisville.
Ooh. And the line's 2.5.
Clemson by 2.5 on the road at Louisville. I'm going to say Clemson. I would put money on this game. Clemson's going to cover.
I won't disagree.
Texas 1-1 after getting embarrassed at home by Maryland in week 1. They came back and slammed some nobody this past week. They are 15.5-point underdogs at USC. USC was impressive against Stanford the other night.
Yeah, they were.
I'm going to say USC covers that. Fresno State and Washington. Washington a 33.5-point favorite. That's Washington's just they've got a great quarterback, and I guess this is his senior year.
Stanford 1-1. You know, they just lost to USC, but they're going to San Diego State, which is like a what, 2A, 2AA?
No, they're
Three?
major. Yeah, they're major.
3. Well, I know ULL and them always have bowl games.
Right, which shows they're not a 1AA.
I know. Yeah, I missed
Yeah.
it. Probably 3, I guess.
I think they would be Mountain West. I think they're in the Mountain West Conference.
But I think Stanford's gonna beat San Diego State. They better.
Yeah. Stanford's not as elite as they were 3 or 4 years ago.
That's true. Moving on. Week 2 of the NFL. Let's start with the Texans. They are going to Cincinnati.
How about speaking of Cincinnati? How about Andy Dalton being responsible for 5 turnovers in that game?
I don't know what to say. I could probably do that.
Year before, I want to make a point about Cincinnati. They had made the playoffs, I believe, 7 years in a row. Year before last, they were in a playoff game against the Steelers. Do you remember how that game ended? They lost it. Pittsburgh did not win that game. Cincinnati lost that game in one of the worst ways I have ever seen an NFL team lose a game. Keep in mind, this was before the most recent Super Bowl.
Okay.
And I said to myself at the time, when you lose a game like that and it's your last game of the year, that sticks with you next year. So last year, they did not make the playoffs for the first time in 8 years. And this Sunday, yesterday, they come out and they score, 3 points? And Andy Dalton throws 4 picks and has a fumble. I see they are favored by 4.5 at home against the Texans. It's against the Texans, and the Texans have no quarterback.
Yeah.
So
I would swing. I mean, even all that you just said about Cincinnati, I was going to pick them.
Patriots and the Saints.
Yeah. Saints get to be at home. Patriots.
Ask yourself, can the Patriots start the year 0-2? Can they?
Sure. You want to know why?
Why?
Because the Madden curse is real, my friend.
Oh, that's right. Tom Brady was on the...
Yeah. So, but do I think he's going to? No. I think they're going to go in there and I'm not going to say decimate, but they're going to make up for what last week was. And if they
So
don't, they're all going to get fired and replaced because
so the Saints will start the year 0-2.
yeah. No. You know what? Saints are going to win.
I'll go with that, but I'm not going to put any money on it.
Because that's a heart call, not a head call.
Yeah, it is. But I tell you what, if the Patriots go 0-2, and by the way, before the season even started, a lot of people were talking about them going undefeated. I think anybody that starts talking about anybody going undefeated during the summer needs to be taken out and eliminated from the gene pool. I'll just put it that way. Eliminate them from the gene pool. Cowboys at Broncos. Evan, I can't stand the Cowboys, but I can't deny that they're good.
Broncos looked good tonight, surprisingly. And I mean, they won. It almost went to overtime.
Yep.
That new coach saved them. That Asian kicker on
Cool.
Koo. And the only reason I emphasize he's Asian is because I've never seen an Asian kicker in the NFL.
I've never seen an Asian kicker before. When I get to work, I'll have to ask Lee about that.
Yeah. So,
I'm gonna go with Cowboys.
yeah, I'm gonna go with Broncos at home, man. Looks like there's a line of 2.5 for Dallas.
Dallas is favored 2.5. Yeah.
So I would go for the over/under, being the under. I think it's going to be a defensive.
I agree with that. That over/under looks a little high at 43 points.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. In fact, that might be the bet there.
Yeah, that might be a good bet.
Yeah. Browns and Ravens. Browns are bad. Ravens just worked Cincinnati over this past week. I think the Ravens cover that.
Yeah, I would say so.
Terrence West is going to run all over the Browns. He'll a whole lot better than Le'Veon Bell did.
Yeah, see, because Le'Veon last year playing the Browns, I think he got like 200 yards on him.
Well, they had 2 games against them, and one of them was really, really good.
Yeah, so I mean he can run on them. Well, at least you could last year, and I hadn't seen much. What was it, Sunday?
Sunday, yeah.
That changed my mind of that.
Bills and Panthers, both of them 1-0.
Yeah, I think
Panthers hammered. Was it Tennessee?
Yeah.
Or was it the Rams hammered the Colts, and the Panthers beat. I think the Panthers beat Tennessee.
I'll go with Carolina on this one.
Yeah, I think so. They're 7.5 point favorite. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think they'll win. I don't know that I would bet them to cover, but I think they'll win. Cardinals and Colts, 2 teams that lost and looked bad doing it. The Colts. Do we have any? We know Andrew Luck's not playing this coming week, right?
Yeah. You never know. I mean, with stuff like I don't think
he's anywhere. I don't think he's close to being back.
Oh, he's not? Okay.
I don't think so. I'll go with Arizona, although as bad as they were offensively and with Johnson being gone, I think them giving away 7.5 on the road might be a little much.
Yeah. I'm gonna have a hard time clicking over and watching this game.
Yeah, I'll follow along because I've got T.Y. Hilton as a receiver in one of my leagues. Tennessee Titans and the Jags. The Jags just opened up a can of whoop ass on
their defense.
On Houston.
Their defense.
And hey, how about the LSU kid Leonard Fournette had him 100 and what was it? 100.
Say Blake Bortles for a second.
130 yards all purpose.
Yeah.
Well, and a touchdown. But you know what? It took 29 touches to get that. I believe it was 29.
Yeah, it's high.
This is the worry I had about him because he's not an elusive or an evasive runner.
Yeah,
he goes for the contact. That's not a recipe for long-term longevity. I want him to do well. I'm afraid they're going to run him to death, and his style is that he will run himself to death as well. Tennessee is favored on the road here. I'm gonna go with the Jags.
Me too.
I like the Jags getting a point and a half at home.
Yeah, I would take that bet. Eagles going to Kansas City, Missouri.
I have got a very definitive favorite on here, but I want to hear what you think.
I got the Chiefs at home. I would
Think they cover?
No.
I'm gonna say they win and they cover, and here's why. They dismantled New England in prime time in New England, with New England coming. Hey, we're the Super Bowl champ. Here's our trophy. The season's starting.
Yeah.
We get to boo Roger Goodell. All of that, and they dismantled them. But then they had a 10-day rest to kind of deal with that and handle it and enjoy it and get back to business. I think the Chiefs win and cover here.
So covering, by the way, is 4.5 points.
Yeah. So they got to win by 5 or more.
So, because I don't think we said that. I think it will be a 3-point game, and it might even go into overtime. I would take the over on it actually too.
They're going to pick your boy off twice.
Disagree. Carson Wentz is gonna show them what Tom Brady couldn't.
Okay. Carson, you heard it here first on the Boomer Next Show. Carson Wentz is going to put Tom Brady to shame.
Yeah, because he ain't on the cover, and see next year he'll be on the cover of Madden.
Wow. So you better get it while the getting's good.
All right, Vikings going to Pittsburgh. I like
Pittsburgh's a 7-point
Pittsburgh.
favorite.
I do like
to cover.
Pittsburgh. Yeah.
Mm-mm. They'll be lucky to win after what I saw. I'm going to go with Pittsburgh to win, but not cover.
No more synopsis on that. That's it.
Le'Veon Bell will show up. He'll be better than he was in week 1, but he won't be in midseason form yet. That's almost too easy a prediction to call it a prediction, but I'll go with that. Minnesota's a good team. I'm actually surprised to see that they're 7-point underdogs. I say Pittsburgh wins but doesn't cover. Yeah.
Yep. It's Heinz Field ain't an easy one to go into though.
It's not. Bears and Bucks. The Bears gave Atlanta a better game. Now, does Atlanta have a Super Bowl hangover?
Is this game gonna happen in Tampa?
There's no reason it doesn't. It shouldn't.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they didn't get hit that hard.
Oh, okay. I mean, from what I saw,
Yeah.
the eye was like right there.
Yeah, but by the time it actually ended up going inland. It went inland legitimately at Naples instead of scraping all up the coast like it looked like it might do.
I got him started on weather, y'all.
and so by the time it got as far north as Tampa, it had lost a lot of its stuff.
Okay.
There's no reason. I don't think there was any severe.
So just so y'all know,
damage.
we almost did a because we're gonna do an episode on what we did this summer, and because John did all kind of stuff this summer, and I did my fair share, and then we want to talk about hurricanes, and so that's gonna be an episode in itself there. So
Yeah, we wanted to kind of get a little bit of sports under our belt since we're 2 weeks into the college season, but we're going to jump back. Yeah, like Evan said, we're going to hit kind of a current events type, and hey, how was your summer?
Yeah.
Thing.
okay, let's get back on the road. Did we talk about Bears Bucks?
Bears and Bucks. The Bucks haven't had a game because their game was canceled postponed to week 11 because of the hurricane.
Yeah, dude, that's gonna suck.
Yeah, they're going to blow 16 in a row. The Bears, again, looked a little bit better against the Falcons. I think the Bears might cover.
I would put the Bears at winning this one. Even
Oh, winning outright?
yeah.
Wow. I think the Bucks win, but I think the Bears might cover.
Dolphins with Mr. Cutler and the Chargers. I think did Philip Rivers throw 3 picks today?
I don't know. I didn't watch it.
I think he threw 3 picks. They have. With that being said, they have the Clippers winning by 20 points. LAC is a 4-point favorite at home against the Dolphins.
Yeah, the Dolphins.
See, I'm gonna say Dolphins win.
I'm going to say Chargers win, and with the Clippers coming in second. The reason I say the Chargers win is because they've got a game under their belt,
Yeah.
and the Dolphins don't. And if for no other reason, I'm going to go with that. Well, look here. Look at this line. Look at this NFL line. 14 points. The Raiders over the Jets.
Yeah, the Jets.
Well, they scored 12 points this past Sunday.
That's an accomplishment.
Wow.
With no quarterback.
I think,
they're just hurting. I mean,
they are hurting. I think
I'm sorry, Jets fans. Just that's all I have to say.
Yeah, I think
maybe next year or the year after.
I think the Raiders name their price on this one. I really do.
I agree. I can't believe they're still called the Redskins against the Rams. Weren't they supposed to change their name a couple of years ago?
Oh, that's been an ongoing thing.
I know.
Yeah.
All right, so they're at Los Angeles, and the Los Angeles Rams are a 2.5-point favorite.
I'm gonna surprise you.
No, you're not.
You think I'm gonna pick the Rams?
Yeah.
Yeah. They'll pick them. I'm picking them, and they'll cover.
That defense, man, was insane.
It was insane.
I know. It was Indianapolis.
But we'll get there. We'll get there.
It was Indianapolis, but still, that was pretty good. Okay.
And Cousins has lost his 2 main targets. Deshaun Jackson and
yes, he has.
And who else? Pierre Garçon.
Yep.
Deshaun Jackson is in Tampa, and Pierre Garçon's out in San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
And it really showed in game 1. I think the Rams go to 2-0 this year, and who would have had that before the season started?
Me, duh. I know everything. 49ers going to Seattle. I believe Seattle just might win by 20 points.
Seattle got humiliated at Green Bay. They were beaten up worse than the score showed, and I think
Russell Wilson took a beating. I think they're just gonna reciprocate that pain.
Yeah, I agree. I think they take out their frustration on the 49ers. Yeah.
Sorry, 49ers fans. You're gonna.
I think it's going to be a good week for you and me to have Doug Baldwin in that starting lineup.
Oh yeah. Yes. Packers going to Atlanta.
Now here's a primetime matchup.
That's a good one. 7:30.
Evan, do you remember Packers Falcons last year was on when we were in Best Buy picking out my TV?
Nope.
I remember watching the game. It was Sunday night. We had recorded the podcast at the library.
Dude, you got an awesome memory.
and then we were in Best Buy picking out my new TV.
Yeah.
And this game was on.
Yeah. And I think I remember Falcons winning.
I don't remember who won, but I remember it was one of those really high scoring. And look at the over under in this one, 53.5.
Dang.
I still think
Atlanta winning. I guess they're just giving them home court advantage. I'm gonna say Packers.
This will be Atlanta's first game in their new stadium.
Really? Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I mean first real game, not first preseason game, but the first real game in the new stadium. I'm going to go with Packers though.
Yeah, me too.
I'm going to go with Packers.
I don't know about that over under. I would say under 53. No, I'm gonna go over on that.
Yeah, because I mean, 28-27 beats
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
So I'm gonna go over. I think the over.
Man, Monday night, dude.
The
Lions,
Giants.
Giants.
It's a, well, the Giants are 1 point favorite.
I like the Lions in this one.
If Beckham is back, and if he is, and I'll watch the reports during the week and see if he's able to practice during the week. If he looks like he'll be 100%, but if he's late in the week and he's still questionable, and then he's back, it would tell me that he's not really totally back.
Yeah.
I think I would go with the Lions. But if Beckham is back and it looks like he has a chance to be 100% or close to it, then I'll go with the Giants.
Fun stat for you: Tim Tebow has more playoff victories than Matthew Stafford.
Wow. Do you
Matthew
know that
Stafford is
Mets just became
currently
the highest?
yes. His
Yeah,
first pass was picked off
for a pick six.
for a pick six, but then he goes and gets 4 more touchdowns. So
Yeah. So he threw
uh,
5 touchdowns.
yes. So so I like Lions. The main reason they're going against the Giants. I mean, I saw
I
a funny little
will make.
meme. The dude with the
I'll,
stick, and he was poking the New York Giants logo, and he said, "Do something."
I'll go with Lions if it looks like we're either short of Beckham or we got a short Beckham.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Well, as you alluded to earlier, this sports short is running very long, but nonetheless, let's stay with the format
Just some sports caprice.
and mad dash it out of here.
I put Maria Sharapova because she's back. I didn't know much about her situation with I think it was some kind of enhancement drugs or something. But she was on them forever, and then they made it illegal, and she was weaning off of it, and then got caught. I don't know. She's back. She lost.
But didn't she make the semis?
Yeah, yeah. And a couple. I mean, they do little polls while, and a lot of people thought she was gonna go to the finals and even win. So
Hmm.
she was. I don't know enough about tennis to know if she looked good enough to go that deep, but apparently people who know what they're talking about
And
do.
the only thing I know is that the U.S. Open always is right around the beginning of
Yeah,
football season,
exactly.
and as if I was going to watch it anyway.
Yeah. It's just always on. I mean, it's because they play at the weirdest hours, and it seems like it's on for like 2 weeks straight, but it's really only like what 4 days or something.
I don't know. I think it spans 2 weekends, doesn't it?
Oh, it does.
I
Okay,
think I think it starts Labor Day weekend and finishes. I don't know.
that makes
I
sense.
don't know. I know fucking Wimbledon that lasts like for a month.
Yeah. Mayweather versus McGregor fight happened. Mayweather won. If you get your news and from us, there you go. Did you watch it, John?
I did not.
Now I'll say this: it was a for Mayweather, it was a good fight because Mayweather's known to be very defensive, run around,
Hmm.
and he was he did some of that, but he also uh yeah he was slugging. McGregor was doing a lot of he did a lot of hammer fist, which is illegal. Uh, he probably was told 15 times to stop. I think eventually the ref took a point away from him, and Mayweather then tore him up in the 10th round. A lot of people think it was rigged. Yeah. I don't think you can get millionaires like that to be rigged. I mean, I understand getting like fights, out in the street and stuff to be rigged, but come on, a fight this big, they're not gonna get rigged. There's many people that are losing money off of a fight like
No,
this.
yeah,
They're gonna
I don't.
come get you
I don't think it was rigged.
if it's
I didn't watch it. I was actually on the way back from New Orleans. I had gone to a Saints preseason game.
Oh yeah, you were
Um,
scouting for our fantasy team.
hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Uh,
And yeah, I went over and scouted. It's got this quarterback named Drew Brees. I thought he looked pretty good.
and we picked him too.
We did pick him.
Yeah. And so put in here NBA anti-flop rules. It's not anti-flop. It's anti. Uh, keep a team from quitting. And just so they get the first round pick. What would you call that? It's like a
Tank.
competition clause, a
Tank.
tanking, anti-tanking.
Tank.
So what they're doing is they're evening out the percentages where like the bottom 10, uh, it's you're less likely to get first round they even out the
Hmm.
percentages. So I
Hmm.
like that because I hate especially for the fans to do that to your fans to just honestly say we quit and everyone knows it and
Well, I've got two things to say about the NBA. The Golden State Warriors have me watching for the first time since the 90s.
hmm
And
and that's all you got to say about that.
no, there was one other thing. Oh, and speaking of teams working their way down so that to the bottom of the barrel so that they can get a great pick, the Philadelphia 76ers, remember who they picked?
Yep.
And remember what we said would happen?
Yep.
And what happened?
Ben Simmons, did he get hurt?
He got hurt, but
Then he
I,
was, I mean,
then nothing.
yeah.
Nothing. So, and I predict he will do nothing. And I could have told the Philadelphia 76ers organization he would do nothing. So, but hey, I watch now. I watch Golden State, and I hadn't watched in the NBA in 20 years. And I watched the Warriors. So, they got me back to that extent.
In the Mad Dash, we do these I told you so's. My I told you so is, oh wait, I already said it. The Madden curse
The Madden curse is real.
is real. Tom Brady is real.
And my I told you so is when I saw that Wade Phillips was the new defensive coordinator at Los Angeles. I said they're going to have a much improved defense. So far, yeah, it was against the Colts, but so far that counts as I told you so. But here at the Boomer and X Show, we are fair-minded and even. And we also will admit when we screwed up. So we follow up our told you so with didn't see that coming.
Mine is New England losing at home. Like you said, and you worded it perfectly. This is your ceremony game.
Right.
This is your, hey, look, we won the Super Bowl. They made a bunch of 28-3 jokes, and then they get beat.
And then they get beat 42
by,
to 27.
Yeah, 42 to 27. So, didn't see that coming.
I'm going to stay right in Los Angeles and hang out with the Rams. And I remember after 2 or 3 weeks last season, the Rams had yet to reach double digits in scoring. They scored 40-plus points in game one this week. I didn't see that coming.
Yeah. And then held the Colts to 9.
Yep.
So, I know, like you said, without luck, but, I mean.
But you go back to last year, and I believe it was 3 weeks in, they had not reached double digits yet. Total.
Wow.
And they scored 46 in week one. So if that's I didn't see that, if that's not I didn't see that coming, I don't know what is.
Oh, their first game last year, they got 0 against the 49ers.
Yep.
Wow. Yeah. So a little bit of an improvement since last year.
Yep.
So I think Wade Phillips might have something to do with that. Obviously, he's not helping them on defense at all. I mean, on offense at all.
Right.
But
what was week 2? What was week 2 in there?
All right. Let's see. Where are they? 9.
So
and
there you go.
Beat the Seahawks though.
So after the first 2 weeks, they had 9 total points.
Mm-hmm. Man, they were.
And here we go. There. Wow, 37. Wow, they went crazy in week 3. So after the first 2 weeks, they had 9 points, and then they somehow, some way, scored a whole bunch of points on the Buccaneers last year. So, but to start out this year with 46 is impressive.
All righty. So, what you think, John? Oh wait, 1 second. Oh, okay. I was about to play some music and thought it was gonna get super loud, but can you hear the music?
Negative.
All right, well it's there.
Okay.
So, everybody, thank you so much for listening. We're going to obviously edit it now. Record. This is a sports short, but we've not done one in so long. We just recorded for over an hour, and so we're gonna edit it down and make it however long it ends up being. But we love y'all for listening and always coming back and listening to all these episodes and all of your support. And we also love when y'all email us, and that's so cool. I mean, we got emails with our movie episode, and people giving us their top 10 lists and stuff. So it's really cool when y'all do that. Thank y'all so much for doing that. Check us out on Facebook. All of our episodes are on YouTube and iTunes. When y'all are there, go give them a like, share them. That's how we grow this and get more cool listeners. John, I got nothing else. What about you?
I had nothing else about 35 seconds ago.
All right. Again, love y'all. Thank you for listening. See y'all next time.